Hi everybody, so what are we up to now? Well, I've got some cheese out, so could I possibly be doing some cooking? There's two sauces there, so potentially one for me and one for Glenda, let's see. So just grating a bit of cheese onto them. Surely this can't be our dinner tonight, look at that, there's not enough there. And now I'm in the greenhouse, and what's going on? Well, we've got a nibbled leaf there, and on the cucumber plant I had to cut a leaf off because it was so badly damaged. So what is going on? Wood lice, this is what's going on. They've made a home in our greenhouse and they're eating all our little plants off. So I had a look online and apparently they're attracted to cheese. It doesn't do them any harm, but they just love it, hopefully more than our cucumbers and aubergines. So I'm setting some traps, which I can then, when they're in there, I can take them out and relocate them into the garden where they can have a happy little life and we'll still have some food to eat. I'm using some crocks here, which were from the pot that the ram smashed last week, so at least it's come in for good use, just to cover it and make it nice and dark. So there we go, we've got 4 wood lice traps set in the greenhouse. And while we're in here, what's been going on in the greenhouse? Well, the squash are growing at such a rate of knots. I'm sure you're all finding it as well. Now it's warming up. The leeks are coming through. The tomatoes are really growing strong now. So I'm going to have to put them out next week because they need to go in the ground. But I want to try and get rid of the wood lice first. Otherwise, we might not have any tomatoes left. So there's some cut and come again lettuce. We couldn't fit them in the garden, so we're just going to have the leaves on those. And a few more brassicas for the winter coming through. The beans are getting massive now, but we have still got risks of frost here. And I had to cover the potatoes last week because we had a frost on one evening. So we've got some bulb fennel we're going to try this year, and then the basil will go in with the tomatoes as a bit of companion planting. So here's the moment of truth. What has happened in the traps? Is there going to be anything in there? Has it worked again? Let's have a look. Yep, there they are. There's definitely one there, and on closer inspection there was a lot balled up. So they've gone into the garden to their new home. They've been relocated. And then look at this one. This is absolutely full of them. They're running everywhere. So this is working. I'm really pleased. I've not had to kill them, which is great because we like to work with nature. However, look at this. Look what's happened in the greenhouse. I've just come in to look at I've just come in to look at the traps and
what's happened, Martha?
Someone has found the cheese. Yeah, and destroyed the wood lice traps. Was it you? Did you eat the cheese? So as you know, last week I started my 3 gallons of rhubarb wine, and this week has just been all about stirring it every day so far to keep the fermentation process going. So this is the final stir, and then I've got to leave it for a day, and then it's ready to siphon out into the demijohns. So that day has arrived, and my first job is to sterilise the demijohns. So for those of you who do a bit of homebrew, you know it's really important. If not, we end up with vinegar if everything is not sterile. So I've commandeered the bathroom, and here we go. We're just filling them up, put the sterilisation fluid in, put in a bit of warm water, and I'll just leave them to stand for a few hours. And now the next job after those few hours is up is just to rinse it all off. So we've got to get them nice and clean, so we don't want any of that nasty fluid left in the wine, because I'm not sure it would be too good for us, to be honest with you. So that's that job done. However, before I leave the bathroom, I need to make sure it's looking a bit clean and tidy. Otherwise, I will be in big trouble from Glenda. So the shower head is out. I think I've done a reasonable job, but I'm sure I will find out shortly. So here we are. I've moved into the pantry, and I am having some serious problems here with the siphon. I just can't get it to work. I really could do with Glenda holding the other end, but she's outside doing some gardening and I don't want to disturb her. So I'm going to persevere. Looks like I'm trying to give the thing a bit of CPR, to be honest with you. But finally, we do end up with a nice flow. So here we go. The first demijohn is underway. And we're going to get on with the second. Not much better, to be honest with you. I really need some practice on siphoning techniques. If anyone knows how you can do it better than this, please just shout. I'd be very grateful. Anyway, it's off again. So we are getting there eventually. Doesn't look very hygienic, does it, with me putting all my nasty bacteria over the siphoning. Anyway, that's the second one. It's overflowed a bit, but never mind. There's plenty in the barrel still. So now I'm on to the final part, which is just to top up the airlocks to make sure that we can't get any nasty bacteria going down into it. But it had sprayed everywhere. It'd gone over the wall, the floor, the shelf. I think I've done a reasonable job. But a bit later on, Glenda walked into the pantry and she said, "Why are my feet sticking to the floor?" I said, "I think it's probably the rhubarb wine." So anyway, I've cleaned that up. They're safely in place, and look at them fermenting away. The CO2 is really working out. Not good for the environment, but certainly good for the winemaking process. I'm well chuffed with this. So in about a month or two's time, I'm going to have to siphon them again into another demijohn. Anyway, we're going to end the video today with a bit of training with Marth. You know we've been doing some proper Gundog training with her, so we just want to give you an update. So there's some lovely walking to heel on the lead, and we're going to do some proper dummy work. For those of you who've seen earlier videos, she wouldn't pick up dummies and bring them back, so we had to use paint rollers. But look at this, she is now delivering perfectly with proper dummies. So we are really pleased with how she's progressing, and she's loving it. She's getting so much enjoyment out of her life doing this. So we had some nice heel off the lead as well. And we're now going to throw out a couple of dummies, and she'll certainly know where one is because she will remember the last one landing, which she'll go to first. But will she then remember where the second one is? That is always the question. It's red as well, the second one, and dogs apparently can't see red. So this would have to be a complete sense of the nose test, because she won't see it until she's right on top of it. So here we go, off for the second one. And by the way, what do you think of my new man bag? Glenda got it for me. It's for putting the dummy. It's actually a dummy bag. But look at me. I look the part, don't I? Unbelievable. Who'd have thought it? So she did so well. She gets her reward ball, and she loves the reward ball. It keeps her really engaged and excited about what she's doing. Oh, a little bit too excited maybe.
I'm just getting the flying cat.
Anyway, enough for Glenda and her flying caterpillars. Back to the dog training. So this time we've thrown it into the corn just to make it a little bit more tricky. Let's see how she gets on. And by the way, this funny whistling, it's a new whistle we've been taught, which apparently is the hunt whistle. So I'm practicing my technique. Now we're going to try one over a hedge, so a little bit more challenging. There's rabbits and hares and deer, so if one is the other side of this, I am in massive trouble. So let's see how she does. Oh, she's back, thank goodness for that. I was worried for a minute she may have gone off after something, but no. And then this one, I stopped her on a stop whistle, which is another new command. Another one over the hedge, so she's got to find this one. She didn't see where it landed either. But no problem. Martha is an absolute rock star when it comes to this time. You know, it's in her breeding, she's brilliant. We just can't believe it. And now we're finishing the walk with a nice steady lead back to the car. So, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next weekend. Take care.